And we're back with episode 23 of the Extra Attacker podcast. We're finally here. It's finally happening.
What up?
And it is time to prepare for the Stanley Cup Finals. How are you today, Jeff? How are you today?
I'm well. Doing well. I woke up with a really bad headache this morning, but we're feeling much better now. We're alive. How'd your rehearsal go this morning?
Oh, very, very good. It's very funny.
Oh, good.
It's a very funny comedy, and we're cruising. We're cruising along.
Good. For those who don't know, he is an actor. You will see him in Hollywood soon.
No, just a local thing for fun. Local thing for fun.
Diddy parties.
Hey. We don't want to get banned here. Anyhow.
Too late. I'm sure we already have been.
Well, onto the Team Canada hockey trial here. Updates. No, we're not going there either. Not going there either.
I kind of forgot that was happening.
That's been going on.
That has been going on. If there's anybody looking for updates, we just don't care enough.
There's pages out there. Go check that.
Exactly.
Out we're here to talk about.
Maybe when it's all over, we'll just tell you briefly, hey, these guys went to prison or they didn't, and maybe that's. But
when you see them all get signed by the Oilers next year, all the ones that got acquitted or whatever the word is, then you'll get updates because Edmonton, the land of second chances.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But on to the playoffs. We had both series finish in very similar fashions this week.
Yes. Both series 4-1. Both Carolina and Dallas able to stave off getting swept for at least one game. In Dallas' case, they won game one. But
I want to point out actually before the series started. I don't know if I said it on the podcast. Maybe I didn't, but I said Edmonton in 5 against Dallas, and I was 100% right. Even though Dallas won game 1, it's like, well, they had to win one game in order to win in 5. So
it's true.
So I just want to say,
congrats on that
called
pick
it.
There.
Thank you.
Yeah, you and me together. I mean, I'm telling you, we'll set the Vegas betting odds from now on.
Seriously, we seriously will. We're doing so good at that, and though. Carolina. Speaking of odds, Carolina finally beat the odds and won a game in the conference final.
Yeah. Speaking of odds, shout out to who was it? Underdog Fantasy. They're that daily fantasy gambling website. Shout out to your hiring manager for completely ignoring all of my messages when I applied to a job there. Jerk.
Yeah, like this.
Anyway, Florida beat Carolina.
This dude can make odds. He doesn't even have to crunch numbers. He just knows.
Yeah. I wasn't even applying. I was applying to an IT job, and you idiots didn't even get back to me. Anyway, Florida.
Yeah, we can start. Let's start with them because they technically won their series first.
They did. 5-3 over Carolina. Carolina actually looked really good for a large part of that game. They were able to kind of get back on their game. They had a couple obviously areas where they screwed up and a bad pass or a bad offensive zone take here or there. But for a long time, they were able to keep the pressure especially throughout most of the first period. They were putting huge amounts of pressure on Florida, not allowing Florida to get anything set up in the offensive zone. Florida was able to just dump it in, and then Carolina was getting it out, getting it reset, taking shots. They were back to the Carolina we thought. Sebastian Aho had 2 goals. It was on Hattie watch by the end of the first.
Yeah.
And both of those came from really, really ugly turnovers in the neutral zone by Florida. So that's something that I really hope Edmonton took note of. That if you can pressure them in the neutral zone, get them to make bad passes, you can take advantage of that. But, yeah, I mean, it was... They went up 2-0. Florida comes back and ties it. They kind of go back and forth a little bit throughout the game. The second period was pretty well dominated by Florida.
They just bully Carolina. They did bully them.
And they wore Carolina down. And that was the big thing. Carolina, they came out really strong and they looked really good. And I said, there's hope for them if they can continue to play this game, but they just ran out of steam. And
Yeah.
Florida was able to steamroll them going into the end of the game. So huge good chances right at the end of the game. There was like 3 minutes left or something. Carolina on the power play, and they had some really good chances. Nothing that they were able to do with it.
Well, and that's the thing that as Coach Rod Brindamore said, Carolina's the standard over there in the East, man. They play they are built for playoff hockey. They play the best kind of playoff hockey where they don't get too high, they don't get too low, and they are just going to come at you in waves. They're going to wear you down because they know it is a war. It doesn't matter about any little individual thing doesn't matter. If they know they're going to win 4-2, it doesn't matter if you score your 2 goals first or last. Like they don't care. And it's the same with Edmonton, but we'll get to them. But they will come at you, they will hit you, they'll pressure you, and they just don't stop. They will out mental you, out physical you, they'll out everything. They will beat you in every way so that you just are destroyed. And in order to beat them, you have to outplay them at that game. And no one has for the last 3 years.
It's true. It's true. I think part of it is you kind of have to play their game a little bit and push back, but part of it is you just can't let them get you off your game. And that's the biggest thing that they do. They will not. Yeah. The biggest thing with Florida that they do that drives me insane is every time they take a penalty, they won't just take the penalty and go. They're going to start punching. They're going to start pushing, and they are going to bait one of your players into retaliation and taking a penalty with them. Yeah. And that is able to get under your skin, gets people off their game. Florida has had far too many opportunities this postseason where it should have been a penalty kill for them, but now it's 4-on-4 because they were able to drag somebody with them. And so you just have to be disciplined. That's one of my concerns with Edmonton, is a couple of their guys letting the emotions get the best of them.
Fine. It's the playoffs.
We kind of expected Florida to win that series. Florida does win it.
Yep.
No
my final 2 in my bracket, baby, are both correct. Yep. I predicted the rematch from day 1.
You did have it.
I guess Matthew Tkachuk called it before I did. Kudos to Matthew Tkachuk, who in the handshake line to multiple of the Oilers players said, "See you next year." Like, we'll see you next year, eh?
Yep. That was impressive. So anything else on that? Any other notes for
Florida, I mean, they've got the injuries. Tkachuk's been playing hurt. Reinhart was hurt. We'll see how much the time to rest for both teams will be nice. But Florida's not coming in at top tier. But
I did see Luosterainen and Anton Lundell are going to be back for game 1. They're fine. What does fine mean? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And that's the thing. Like that's everyone's playing kind of hurt, but the big difference here is they're pushing through, whereas Edmonton's getting some people back. Yeah. They did lose a big piece, and we'll get into that here. Let's go into Edmonton.
Yeah. Edmonton right out of the gate, man. Right out of the gate.
Scored the first goal in all 5 games of that series, baby. Which is not a normal thing. Edmonton is not known for scoring the first goal.
Oh, no. At least they like
not the past couple of years. Yeah. Not in this series.
Not anymore.
Dallas led for like a total of 14 minutes this entire series.
Something like that. Yeah. Just Dallas literally had one good period the entire series. Dude. And it's hard to... That sounds reductive. I defy anybody to prove me wrong.
They had periods where they outplayed Edmonton, but not in a way that got them to win.
Yeah, I wouldn't even give them credit and say they had periods. I'd say they had a couple of minutes here and there. I'm not crapping on Dallas. I would say there was a very good team.
I would say there was a few periods. I would say there was. Because, Dallas is still a very, very good team.
Yes.
And
Edmonton able to go up real early. Power play goal within the first couple minutes. Maverick Bork gets put into the lineup for Dallas. Pete DeBoer saying, "Hey, we got to shake these lines up a little bit. Let's give the kid a chance." 5 seconds into his first shift, high sticking penalty leading to a goal. Not going well for them. Second goal comes in, neither of which were Ottinger's fault. Dude just got some really bad bounces, some really open reap. I mean, the first one, McDavid to Perry, and nobody was on Perry.
Perry right in front of the net on the power play with no one there.
Yeah, and everybody
just Perry, the ageless wonder.
Exactly. So Ottinger kind of gets screwed with that. He gets pulled from the game. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up here. Casey DeSmith comes in, almost immediately gives up a goal, and Edmonton's up 3-0. I do want to put the note out there that the third goal, the first one on Casey DeSmith, that was Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger, wow.
Jeff Skinner.
Mr. I wrote it down here, 1,078 regular season games.
Yeah.
Before ever playing a playoff game.
Yeah.
He played game 1 against the Kings, and now he's back in today.
He's back, baby.
And scores a goal.
He made it count. What a team play. Can I just take a second and say, what a team player?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because, like, how much would it suck to play over 1,000 NHL games before ever getting to play in the playoffs, and then your first playoff game is a terrible, like a heartbreaking loss to LA, and then you get benched you get put in the press box, healthy scratch, for the next almost 3 entire rounds. But then someone gets hurt, and now it takes your chance. Like, what mental strength, what team effort, and what priority setting to then go and be like, instead of, like, obviously he's going to be sad, he's going to be disappointed, but he made sure he was ready to come in, should his time come, and contribute and put everything on the line and be like, I am a member of this team, and I'm going to play like it, and I'm going to treat everyone like it. And then he goes and he scores a goal. Like, and even when he talked about it, when he was asked about it, he's like, honestly, I didn't even see it go in. Like, I was just happy we scored. I just, people were celebrating and it's there. Like, I'm just happy to be here, essentially, was the sentiment. Like, what a guy.
Yeah. And after 15 years, like, I mean, like you said, that's rough. That's a long time to go without. In Buffalo, yeah, poor guy. But yeah, good for him. It was good to see that. Yeah, I mean, those 3 early goals really put Dallas in a hole, and then it was after that point they decided that they kind of wanted to play hockey. They didn't want to just sit down and completely lose. It was, and I think I texted you about it during the game, but it was really strange because we've seen games before that...
I was playing softball at the time, too. Like, I had a softball game.
Oh, were you?
So
Okay.
I literally had my phone either in my pocket or on the bench and an earbud in, just so I could listen to the game while playing.
Yeah, but like we've seen games where one team is just outplayed and outclassed and just it doesn't look good. This looked like it was grade school children against grown men. Like, it was just the strangest thing that Dallas they just I could feel through the TV. These guys were mentally exhausted. They were mentally defeated. They had nothing.
It looked the same against Vegas too by game 5.
Yeah.
Like the opposing team just looked like they're like, if we're to come back, we have to do what against it? We have to battle in what kind of way? We have to go through what kind of struggle to overcome the mentality and the drive of these guys multiple times, and then have to go and do it more after? Like, do we have it in us to go through that?
Yeah.
They don't, and they didn't. They don't.
Yeah, but it was super strange to me, and I don't know how to verbalize it, but yeah, that first 8 to 10 minutes, they looked like grade school kids. They just mentally were out of this. Physically, we have nothing. And it wasn't fair, and it actually made my heart hurt for them, because there's that Simpsons meme. It's like, quit hitting him, he's already dead, and that's what I felt during this. But from then on, they just, hey, we actually kind of want to play hockey now, and they turned it on, and the rest of the game was actually very competitive. Mm-hmm. They had a couple of really good plays, couple of good steals in the neutral zone. Robertson was able to beat Skinner once or twice. just on one-on-one breakaways. Edmonton's got to clean up a couple of passes here and there, but for the most part, they looked good. But the biggest thing for me in that game was the last 12-ish minutes of the third. Edmonton just locked down defense. We're not going
Dallas had
like
4 shots in the third and none in the final 10 minutes.
2. Officially 2 shots on goal in the third period.
Oh, they changed it. It was at the end of the night. It was 4.
2 shots on goal.
No way.
In the next period when I looked it up. Yep. Because they started with 15, they ended with 17.
It says 4 on.
What
online.
does? They must have changed it after I saw it then.
Yeah. So if we go to the NHL.com, officially Dallas had 4 in the third period.
Interesting. That changed then, yeah. So even that though.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It changes. You got to keep checking back.
Yeah. But even with that, 4 shots on goal. That's just not going to do it.
4 shots on goal when you're down 2-1 in an elimination game and none in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's not going to do it.
But
Edmonton's defense was something that, yeah, I've never seen that level of lockdown defense. They did very well at.
We can play defense.
Yeah, it wasn't a case of we're not going to try to score or we're not going to take offensive opportunities. It was we're not going to push hard. We're not going to overplay or anything like that. It was just fundamental. Let's just lock them down. Didn't give them any shot opportunities. Played really good at the blue line. Whenever Dallas was able to chip it in, we already had a guy on the puck reading where it was going to bounce. And it was a defensive clinic. And I think you could take the last 10 minutes, 12 minutes of that third period. Anybody out there who's a little league hockey coach, show those clips to your team. And that is how you play defense. And they just completely locked them down. Yeah. Dallas could not get a shot off. They had nothing.
Keep them to the outside, clog up the lane, stop the pass.
Wild. Yep.
It was beautiful. It was incredible. And Rantanen had nothing past game 1. Rantanen was shut down. Yep. And you have it in here. The third goal that Dallas scored, that was the only soft goal that Skinner let in that whole series. And so, but the thing is he played so incredibly well. Like, guys,
oh, yeah.
this is now his Wikipedia article, right? Like, look at this. Stuart Daniel Skinner, a.k.a. your wife's boyfriend, is now the owner of the Dallas Stars.
Yep.
For 2 straight years, Stuart freaking Skinner has outdueled Jake Ottinger, the contender for the starting net of the USA Olympic team, and has just owned the Dallas Stars in the playoffs. Skinner haters, Skinner doubters, get out of here. I've been arguing for this man all year. And he
True statement.
Was I right?
True statement.
And then
he's he has, I will maintain whatever it is, whether it's a mental block or whatever it is, he's got to figure it out and get past that, because every year there's some problem where he has a couple of game stretch where he's just downright terrible, and then he figures it out, and then he's really good.
But that's every goalie. And the thing is, he's already figured out the mental thing. He has it. He's got some of the best mental game of any sports player I've ever seen. And the thing is, he's young. This is his 3rd year in the NHL. He's 26 years old. Goalies aren't good. Like, for the vast majority of them, they aren't good. They're not ready. They're not consistent till they're at least 28, 29.
Yeah.
And that's where they've had time to properly develop, be mentored. Like, you've got the extreme outliers, of course. But even look at guys like Jordan Binnington, who in his rookie season led his team to the Stanley Cup final. Let's ignore the personality for a second. But look how inconsistent he's been since then. Right? Yeah. This is a guy that in his rookie year came out of nowhere and led his team to a cup. Okay? But did he then still had to grow. And there's a lot of things about being a goalie in the NHL that are so hard and so different that takes maturity and experience that just can't be done. So I'm not worried about this guy. He's not elite.
Not at all.
He's not
Not
going
at
to
all.
he's not going to win the Vezina, but he is clutch when it matters, and he's there when you need him most.
Yep. 100%. 100%. So, yeah, we do have a rematch. Chris Knobloch getting his 26th postseason victory in first 2 years as head coach, which is 2 more than the second best of all time. And he has 4 more potential wins that he could add on to that.
He is
So old Nobby there, setting records.
He's also the second head coach in NHL history to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals in his first 2 years. The only other coach to ever do that is the dad of Knobloch's boss, Stan Bowman, widely considered to be the best coach in NHL history of all time. His son, Stan Bowman, is the GM of the Edmonton Oilers right now. So Knobloch doing something that only one other person's done, but he's out coaching all his competition. Pete DeBoer is not a bad coach, but Knobloch has broken that man. Oh my goodness.
Oh yes. Before we dive super deep into that, we do have a couple fun facts about the finals here. But Knobloch.
Okay, you want to do those first?
Out coaching. Let's do it. Yeah, we're talking about the finals. Let's get through the finals here.
Okay.
Kynan found us some fun facts.
Yes. So let's start off. Let's start off with this one. So this one is very fun. So in NHL history, teams that have made it to the Stanley Cup Finals but lost at least their first 2 games of the playoffs are all listed right here. So this is final berth, getting to the Stanley Cup Final after losing their first 2 at least their first 2 games of the postseason. So you have the Penguins in 92. What did they do? They went on to win their first ever franchise cup. Canadiens, 93. They lost their first 2 playoff games. What'd they do, Jeff? Last team to win the Stanley Cup for a Canadian team.
Interesting. Okay.
And then you've got the Red Wings, who did it in 02. The Hurricanes, who did it in 06. Bruins, who did it in 2011. The Capitals, who did it in 2018. And
what did all those other teams do?
Oh, well, they went on to win the Stanley Cup, Jeff, including the Los Angeles Kings. Every one of them, including the Kings, who lost their first 3 games of the postseason in 2014, who went on to win the Cup.
Reverse sweep in the first round to win the Cup.
Uh-huh.
There's one team on this list. One of these things is not like the other. One of them doesn't belong. Yet.
Edmonton is the only team currently on this list who has done this but not won the Cup. But history is proving things. Just like how in rematches, Gretzky, his first cup came in a Stanley Cup Finals rematch for the year before he lost in the Stanley Cup Finals. Same with Crosby.
Didn't really help a ton. I know I'm super dark. As you guys can see, we're in a different room. We're in an office. We'll get the lighting figured out. But right now we're super dark. So sorry, y'all.
Moved your place. You're fine. You're good.
Oh, I'm not apologizing to you. I'm apologizing to the people. You can get over it. Everybody else, Sorry, guys. Yes. So hopefully they'll keep that trend going. This is the 12th time in NHL history that we had a finals rematch in back-to-back years. The winner of the first won 7 times out of those 12. So if that trend continues, that means Florida is going to repeat as champion.
But if we look at the most recent times, which is the Penguins and the Red Wings, Islanders and the Oilers. I don't know about these, but the last 2 times it's happened, the returning team, the team that lost the previous year, won.
So we do have that. Now, how much do you believe in superstition?
As much as it benefits me. I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. Florida did not touch the Prince of Wales trophy. None of them touched it. However, every player of the Oilers went out of their way to go hold the trophy and touch the trophy, pat the trophy.
Mm-hmm.
So they're hoping to change their fortune a little. They didn't touch it last year; they lost.
Mhm.
They're hoping touching it this year will bring victory. Do you
Well,
put
you
any
had to
stock?
touch it after you didn't touch it and lost.
True.
It's,
It's
it's
true.
it's how the Panthers did it. The first year they made the finals, they touched it, they lost. Second year they didn't touch it, they won.
So it's not about touching or not touching. It's just find out which one doesn't work and then do the opposite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I like it.
I mean, the thing is when the Panthers did when they touched what in the first year when they did touch it, Vegas also touched it, and so then Vegas won. So now it's when the Panthers do, I don't know. It's like when the Panthers do the same thing as their opponent, they they lose. When they do the different thing from their, but then the second year, I don't know. I had something with this. I'm gonna stop. I can't, like a couple
Good idea.
days ago. I
Good
was
idea.
like, wait, I did the thing, and if it did this, and so I've lost it. I'm not gonna try and go back there. That is lost in the depths of my brain and shall never be found.
See you later. Weird fact.
Yes.
Oilers depth. 11 players with 3 goals or more
Yeah.
this postseason. I also
Yeah.
want to point out, if we go to the NHL homepage, something I've noticed the last couple days, look at the leaders and points.
Yeah. Let's
I don't
go
know if
there.
you've noticed this or not.
I'll pull it up here. Bada bing,
Out
bada
of the
boom.
top 5, if you don't go into that and you just stay on the homepage, it only shows you the 5. But you got McDavid, Draisaitl, Hopkins, Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and then Mikko Rantanen being in third. 4 of the top 5 are from Edmonton in points.
Yeah.
So not only is Edmonton scoring more in general, but it's not just McDavid and Draisaitl. And I feel like there's been, I don't think 100% unfair, but I think largely unfair criticism of Edmonton in years past, where it's kind of, you got McDavid and Draisaitl, and then beyond that, there's not much. I think that was overblown, but I don't think it was entirely unfair. But this year, that's completely different. We have so much depth scoring, it's ridiculous.
So here's a fun fact. So last year, across the whole playoffs, Edmonton for players outside of McDavid and Draisaitl got a combined 63 points or something across the entire playoffs last year. By the end of the second round this year, the rest of the players had already surpassed that in Edmonton when you combine all their points. Like it is a extreme night and day difference. McDavid at this point last year had over 30 points. He was like at 35, 36 points. We can actually, because last season, we can get the stats. He finished with 42 points.
42, yeah.
And so, like this year, he's only got 26. If he was to get there, he'd have to score 16 points in the Stanley Cup Finals. But he doesn't need to.
Yep. He very well could, but yeah, we've got the depth. He doesn't have to do it.
Ryan Nugent Hopkins is he's the first player since Gretzky to have the multi-point games in the first 4 games of a conference final.
It was really disappointing that he didn't get multi-point in the clinching game. I was sad about that.
Yes, but he doesn't care. That's the thing. They are so bought in. I know we get to. We're supposed to. Yeah, but he doesn't need to. He actually played on he only played 1651 in that final game.
Well, and I think you just gave us the operative word there. He's bought in. I think that's the thing. Everybody's bought in. They know the system. They know their roles. That means some of those guys had to take a step back, and some of those guys had to take a step forward. But everybody is playing together well. They're playing as a team. Bought in is about the best descriptor that I can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then if you want another thing, Edmonton had 19 players in that conference final with at least a point.
Yep. What is 25 on the bench on the roster? 24. I don't remember the number. How many players are in the game?
Oh, sorry. So you have 18 players that can skate. But that includes your goalie and your backup. So 16 players
16
between
okay.
the forwards and the defense. Oh no, sorry. 18 forward. 18. No, it's 19 and 20 is the goalie. So you've got 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, 18 players. What am I saying?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So 18. So
18 players.
that's more than even play.
Yeah. So that means some of your bench riders are scoring at that point. So they're in a very, very good spot. So with that being said, Panthers aren't looking terrible right now either.
No.
Got a couple facts about them. All 7 Panthers blue liners have scored. Their defense is scary on
Light
both
it up,
sides of the
baby.
puck.
Light it up. Yeah, they've got depth scoring to boot too. It's beautiful from them.
Yep.
That's
the biggest thing with them is it doesn't matter who's got the puck. You have to take them seriously as a shooter.
Yeah. And it's not even just like it's at home or something too, right? They set the record for most goals scored through 10 road games in one postseason, 48.
Yeah.
Just 5 more than the previous record.
That do be a lot for any of you that are not math people. That is 4.8 goals per game on the road. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So, and I want to say, because Toronto shut them out in one game. I think that was in Toronto. So really, that's 48 goals in 9 games.
No, Toronto shut them out in Florida, I believe.
Was it in Florida? Okay.
Let's triple check here. If we go here and go the round. Yeah, so it was in Florida that they shut them out.
In Florida, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind then.
Yeah, but in Toronto, 2 games in a row, 6-1. Sheesh. Ouch.
Yeah, that's wild.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And couple final fun things here. We got kind of between the two teams. We got Draisaitl set face off against Barkov and Reinhart. Well, why is that significant? Well, we've got a Selke nominee in Leon Draisaitl, the player voted to be the MVP voted by the players, facing off against 2 of the players nominated for. Oh no, sorry. No, that's the.
I knew what you meant.
Selke is for best defensive forward, which is Reinhart and Barkov, and then Draisaitl, who had the most goals and is nominated to be MVP by the players, which is the Ted Lindsay. Yeah.
Yep. You can do it.
I'll get there.
Yeah, there's too many names. That's one thing I don't like. I do like, but I also don't like. But the NHL, we can't just call it the MVP. We have to have names for everything. I can never keep them all straight.
It's to honor people.
Yeah, who are people?
Corey Perry is one person who is going to be in his 5th Stanley Cup final in 6 years. The only other time that's happened, the last time that was to happen was in 83 through 87 or 88 with 7 players all on the Oilers. Like Gretzky.
I was going to say, every time a record is set, or this is the first time this has happened happens, it's always Gretzky.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody can make the argument that there has ever been a player in any league that has been the best in their league more than Gretzky has dominated everything in the NHL.
I've got another one that involves Gretzky if you really want it.
My point exactly.
McDavid being the second fastest player to reach 100 playoff assists took 90 games. Gretzky did it in 70.
Yep. I mean, what is there that Gretzky didn't do?
Win a cup without the Oilers.
Fair. He was the head coach, and he didn't take a dump all over his starting goaltender. There's that.
Yeah, he just did it across his entire team. I'm kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
You want
Oh
to talk
man,
drama here?
Pete
We alluded
DeBoer.
to it earlier. Pete DeBoer.
Oh gosh.
Pretty sure he's trying to get fired at this point. Um, as you can see, 10 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first. Ottinger's already out. Sitting next to our on-ice reporter, who now has to talk about and describe how bad Ottinger played,
But he
while
did it.
sitting 2 feet away from him.
He didn't play
Now,
bad.
he didn't. He didn't. Again, like we were talking about earlier, he got pulled after 2 quick goals, which
On 2
statistically, that's terrible. 2 shots, 2 goals against you. You're a terrible goaltender. How many times have we talked on this podcast? We have to look at more of the numbers. What happened on those 2 goals? The first one was a power play goal. Leon Draisaitl across the boards to Connor McDavid, who centers it to Corey Perry. Like we mentioned, nobody anywhere near Corey Perry. He sets up right in front of Ottinger, ready for the tip. Nobody on him. Doesn't matter what Jake Ottinger does. He cannot stop that. Can't really blame him for that. Second goal, where to go here? I have notes for it.
It was a breakaway from Janmark.
That's right. Yep. So Jake Wallman is able to. It is Janmark. But Jake Wallman in the defensive zone is able to get a pass out to the neutral zone to Janmark. He's on his own for a breakaway. 1-on-1 with a goalie. I don't care how good your goalie is. Usually goes to the skater. It's just the way that works. 1-on-1 usually goes to the skater. So this is 7 minutes into the game. 2 shots, 2 goals. Yeah, it's not looking good. But like I was saying earlier, these looked like grade school children. None of their skaters were moving. None of their skaters were playing defense. Like they weren't trying even remotely. They looked like they were wearing cement shoes. And Rantanen even came out after when he was asked about, what are your thoughts on Jake Ottinger getting pulled? He said, none of us were doing anything to help him out. So after the second goal, Pete DeBoer calls the timeout. I don't generally like using the timeout that early in the game, but in context, I said, I don't think that's a terrible move. Let's give everybody a breather here. This is an elimination game. You gotta stop. In a vacuum, I don't think pulling Ottinger was the worst thing that could have happened either. Not because it was his fault, but because it shakes things up.
Yeah. But then when you go and blame him.
That's the thing. The way he did it. So we huddle up at the bench for this timeout. Ottinger starts to skate back to his crease. He's yelling, and he's really animated in pulling him back in full view of everybody. Publicly embarrasses him, which is not good. At the end of the first period, obviously they're in the locker room doing their pep talk or whatever. As they're coming out, Jake Ottinger's one of the first out, and he's standing there, he's fist bumping all the players, fist bumping all the coaches. Pete DeBoer comes, and he puts his arms down at his side. Neither of the two look at each other. And then he puts his arm back up and fist bumps the other coaches coming by.
Yeah.
Jake Ottinger's already pissed at this point. Post-game press conference from Pete DeBoer, quote, "I don't blame it all on Jake, but the reality is, if you go back to last year's playoffs, he has lost 6 of 7 games to Edmonton, and we gave up 2 goals on 2 shots in an elimination game." He has lost 6 of 7 games to Edmonton.
That's not what you do with your franchise goalie publicly. That is not.
Even if it's true, you don't do that.
This is a top 5 goalie in the league. This is your franchise guy. You just signed him for 8 years. How about you, Pete? Maybe you're the one who lost 6 of the last 7. Maybe your entire team. Yeah. Maybe it's not on your goalie.
Yeah. Again, was Jake Ottinger outdueled? Yes. Did he play up to what we expect Jake Ottinger to play up to this entire series? No. Did he make some mistakes? Give up some silly goals? Sure. But those 2 goals in particular, and just as across 2 series, we're going to sit there and we're going to say he lost 6 of 7. No. You don't do that. Even again, it doesn't make sense. It's not true. The entire team collapsed, but even if it's true, even if it was 100% his fault, you yell at him behind the scenes. You don't go do that in the media at a press conference. That's ridiculous.
And if you want to get even technical, he wasn't even the goalie of record by the end for that game. He doesn't even get credited with the loss. So it's not even him who lost that game. You can't even, that's an inaccurate stat at that point.
Yeah. So I just tensions are high and emotions are high and nobody's happy, obviously, when you lose. I get it. But part of being a head coach is knowing how to work with your players and not say things like that. I think at this point, yes, Pete DeBoer has done a lot for that organization. He's a very good coach. I don't see how. I mean, one of the two of them has to go at this point, and I don't think it's Otter.
One of them, but yeah, it's just one of them is going to end up leaving. It's just a matter of, which one and when. Like, it'll be the latest by the end of next season, but very likely before. It's just.
Oh yeah.
Do you?
I would expect something over the summer.
Edmonton ruins teams. They send teams into rebuilds, man. I'm not saying Dallas is going to spin into a rebuild or anything like that. They're too good. They got too many good players, but they break teams.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent. I mean, 3 straight years going to the Western Conference Final. They're not bad, and they're not a team to be slept on. But I don't see, and maybe they're just better adults than I am. But I don't see that relationship being repaired, and I think Pete DeBoer screwed up big time. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be one of the biggest news stories in the league until something happens over the next couple months. And it's going to take a lot of attention away from a lot of other things. Pete DeBoer's got to go. I mean, dude was complaining nonstop at every press conference already. Throwing temper tantrums, throwing fits, making them look like a terrible team. And then this. I don't see, like I said, I don't see them getting rid of Jake Onger. So I think DeBoer's time in Dallas is done.
I think if they want to change the results, if they want to have a chance at winning, this is one of those times where you got to change your coach. You got to get a different identity, because your team just takes on the identity of their coach and the demeanor, and it's just not. It's not if their goal is to win a cup, it's not going to be with Pete.
Yep, 100%. It's, I mean, again, we've talked about it here before. Underperformance doesn't mean it's always the coach's fault, even though that's the easiest scapegoat. But I think he just made the decision for him, and he made that decision very, very easy for them to make. He gave them the reason and the excuse to get him out of there. So I feel bad for Ottinger. He didn't talk to the media afterward at all. Understandably so. I would be surprised if the first thing he did after the game wasn't to march right into the GM's office and say, "One of us is leaving. You make your choice."
Well, the exit interviews are going to be rather interesting.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one for sure. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But Edmonton, how you feeling with this one?
Zachary Martin Hyman.
Zach Hyman.
The man who was on pace to set a record for most hits in a postseason.
Yeah.
Got his wrist broken in a just freak collision with Mason Marchment, and had to have surgery Wednesday morning. Yeah. Very unlikely to return to the playoffs at this point.
I love how they're saying very unlikely. I mean, let's be real here. Dude just had wrist surgery. He's done. Let's just call it for what it is. He's done.
You never know. Sometimes bodies heal miraculously sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know.
You never
he
know.
Was leading the playoffs with 111 hits.
Ekholm wasn't supposed to come back.
That's fair. 111 hits. The all-time record was 126 from Blake Coleman of the Lightning in 2020. And that's in 15 games. he had 111 hits. He also had 5 goals, 6 assists. So 11 points, 111 hits in 15 games. Yeah, this is not the same level as losing Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid, but this is a huge hit.
Yeah.
Edmonton does, again, have the depth. I think they'll be okay, but this is not a small hit. Zach Hyman has cemented himself as one of the premier players on this team, one of the important pieces.
I have a hot take, though.
Okay.
If we were going to lose one of our top pieces, this is probably the best one to lose because the role he was playing is a bit. We have more players that can step in and play that way, and he's so well connected and so beloved and such a heart and soul guy that this is going to, like, the guys are going to now also play for him.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they are going to put in all the work to do this for Zach. And so the motivation this can be to the team and the role that he was playing, although hard to fill, like you on the power play, you have Corey Perry coming in, filling up that spot, still scoring goals there. Got a really smart player. You got a Vander Kane that can come up and still be that big hitting top 6 guy. And it's a winger, and you still have guys that can come in and support and help. He's such a dynamic player, but it's not like it's a Nugent Hopkins, who I feel like would be a lot harder of a spot to fill. Just the way he plays, we don't have as many people that can do that. The only downside is, since Hyman's a right-handed shot, we have less depth there, but you have Jeff Skinner coming in. Like, your options for filling these spots in when Connor Brown comes back for game 1, you're having to take out someone like Arvidsson or Skinner. Wow.
Very good problem to have.
What a position to be in, right? Like, it sucks, but you have people that can come in, and Ekholm's now back. Like, you've traded Hyman and Stetcher for Skinner and Ekholm.
Yep, pretty much.
What duo would you rather have? I don't know. Like, that's a really hard decision to make, which, I mean, that, like, I'm not worried about it's a big deal, but I'm not worried about the Oilers being able to still win the cup. I'm not worried. Yeah.
No, that's exactly how I feel about it. I think, again, it's not a good thing, but Edmonton has the depth. I think they can overcome that. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Hopefully he'll recover quick. Hopefully it's not too big of a deal. And, prayers up for him. Good luck to him. Another one, Adam Lowry. He had hip surgery on Tuesday. He's out for the start of the season next year. 5 to 6 month recovery time.
Yeah.
Captain. So that's not fun. Captain Lowry. He is headed into the final year of his 5-year deal. That is probably the worst time to get injured too. Because even when he comes back, he's still going to have a little bit of, hey, we got to kind of get into the groove of things. He's going to be down a little bit for the year. Notable too, he had the double overtime game winner in Game 7 against St. Louis in the first round.
Yep.
And then went out for a little while. I think he was out like 3 games, something like that. Came back, but he's a heck of a player. He's another one that, again, 5 to 6 months, he'll be out for a while. We've had a couple other injuries, but nothing. I think those were kind of the notable ones. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Surgery's never fun.
No, it is not. But it should be okay. Winnipeg, they do have a lot of depth, so they should be able to survive. Hey, if Colorado could survive without their captain for a few years, Winnipeg will be okay for a few months. They'll be okay for a few months.
Oh yeah. Tell us about the prospects Utah just signed.
Well, it's more fun.
I know you know a lot about them.
I don't. I feel like this one you should say. This is the big thing for you, Mr.
This is a big thing for Utah, yes. So 2023.
For you and Utah.
For you and Utah. 2023 number 6 and number 12 overall picks, Dmitry Simashev and Daniil Butt. LOL, his name is Butt.
But
The worst part is it's spelled with one T, so every article looks grammatically incorrect, and it literally takes me a couple seconds. I have to like stop and think and like figure out what they're trying to say.
Utah
Because
signs new player, but
yeah, but what? Oh wait, that's his name. So
but
yes, we
what?
did
No, he's
sign
on
them
second.
both.
He's on second. We don't
Yeah,
talk about him.
terrible. Signed both of them to their 3-year entry level contracts. Like I said, they were picked in 2023. The biggest thing that they're bringing is the size. Anybody that knows Utah or has talked to me, I think I've talked about it on here. I've been saying our biggest problem that we have in the offseason that we need to address is the size issue, is the hitting issue. Dmitry Simashev, defenseman, 6'6", 203, and Daniil Butt is a 6'5", 216 forward. Two big boys
Sheesh.
coming over.
Sheesh.
They were teammates in the KHL for the last 3 years, playing for the Yaroslavl Lokomotiv. Went to the finals the last 2 years, won the finals last week.
Nice.
And pending their visas, they will be attending development camp in Park City over the summer, training camp with the NHL team in the fall, getting ready for the season to start. GM Bill Armstrong says he expects both of these guys to make the roster, and so we're gonna have a couple roster late decisions, couple roster battles trying to make the team. The biggest thing that I'm loving about this, though, both these kids playing, from Russia, playing in the KHL the last couple of years. We have somebody on our team that is from Russia, that is familiar with the KHL, familiar with these guys.
We hear
Mikhail
you need
Sergachev.
Mammoth.
Yes.
Come,
So,
Mammoth brethren, come join.
yeah, they are already very good friends with Sergey. And they were spotted last week here in town, like a day or two after they won the championship in Russia. They were spotted here in Salt Lake having lunch with Sergachev.
Most excellent.
So
KHL Mammoths coming to NHL. Here to help score goals and wreck the filthy Canadians and American players. Yes. Show them how to play hockey. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, two big boys. I spent like 3 or 4 hours the other day diving down the rabbit hole. KHL keeps almost no stats, so there's no advanced statistics, no analytics on these guys.
We
But
block
trying to
stats
take their
from
numbers,
America.
trying to take their numbers and like trying to compare and fit them in. They're looking like they're not going to be, top elite players. They're going to be kind of a little bit middle of the road, but above middle of the road. They're going to definitely, I think, be a help to the team. But the biggest thing is with their size. Every scout that has put out articles or put out quotes, they're saying these two are very fast, they're very good on their feet, very good puck handling skills. Which A is impressive with their size, but B, again, puck handling has been one of our biggest problems. If I had $1 for every pass that we made that just completely missed where we were trying to send it last year, I would not have to work a day in my life. It was kind of disgusting. So I'm really excited for these kids. I think they'll do really well for us. It's gonna be fun to have them.
Yeah.
So
I also
big
remembered
deal.
what my intro was going to be, so I'll do it as our outro.
All right.
For
All right.
when that time comes. But we've got one more thing, one more big topic. But we're getting a season 2, ladies and gentlemen, and it's gonna have even more players with some spiciness too, from the looks of things.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I do like seeing Marc-Andre Fleury in there.
Oh yeah, you got Crosby and Fleury. They're boys, they're buddies.
Yep. It'll be interesting. You got both of the Kachucks in there, which who cares? Brendan Shanahan.
Ooh. Now
that's gonna be a fun one.
This is the over/under. Will it include the ending of the Toronto Maple Leaf season and the decision to not have him return?
Oh yeah. They're gonna be doing an interview, and I'm so disappointed, but I love my time in Toronto. Like, of course, that's gonna be in there.
Yeah. You've got a couple of people returning like Matthew Tkachuk and William Nylander. They're going to be returning, but then you've got a lot of new faces. I'm interested on the LA Kings ones with the Anze Kopitar and Quinton Byfield.
Yeah, and just looking at this, like, I mean, you can kind of pair up Crosby and Fleury, you pair up Kopitar Byfield, you pair up the Tkachuk brothers, you pair up Shanahan and Nylander, you pair up all three of the Dallas players, Werenski and Monahan with Columbus. I mean, Seth Jarvis is kind of the man out, but maybe you pair him up with Rantanen, and I
was
feel
about
like
to say, yeah.
Yeah, you pair him up with Rantanen, and we're almost going to have, like, each episode follows each of the two in the pair is kind of what I'm guessing is going to happen. Because, I mean, we don't need to have an episode or 2 episodes following Brendan Shanahan alone. I feel like he and Nylander are going to be kind of together. That's their one story.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like that's kind of what they're going for with a lot of this, is we're going to pair up a lot of these guys and see the interactions between them, as well as their own stories, and then how they converge and all that. So it'll be interesting. But for anybody that didn't watch the first season, you need to. It was really cool, really interesting. Got some good memes out of it. Got some dumb memes out of it.
Dig in. Write the bleep now.
Yep.
Write the bleep now.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm excited. It'll be good.
Here we go. Okay, cool. We got some fun games. Playoff finals start Wednesday in Edmonton. Both teams not having home ice advantage all playoffs long. But Edmonton did just slightly better.
Let's go.
Who
takes game 1?
Oh, Edmonton. They're starting.
Okay.
My hot prediction for this: Edmonton will finally break the Panthers' streak of winning any game they have a lead in at some point. I think there will be a game this series in which Florida is leading but ends up losing, breaking the over 30-game winning streak that Florida has. If in the playoffs, any game that they've had a lead at some point, they end up winning. I think that ends this series.
Okay. I'm going to take Edmonton in 6. I don't think we're going 7 again.
I want 5 or 7, just so it's the wins at home. That's all I want. That's all I want. The key.
I agree with you. I want it, but
what's the Oilers' key to winning? What's the one thing they got to do, Jeff, to make sure they win the cup this year? That they win the finals. What's the one thing? If you had to pick one key,
break Matthew Tkachuk's legs.
Okay, that is the one key for Edmonton. Mine is they just win the games at home.
Yeah, no. I mean, the one key. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is like we talked about earlier. Florida is very good at making you take undisciplined penalties and just getting you off your game. Let Florida be goons. Let them do their stuff. Let them be the immature children that we know that they are. Stick to your game. Stick to your game plan. Don't take undisciplined penalties, and you'll be fine. Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. Stay out of the penalty box with the undisciplined penalties, and Edmonton takes it.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good to me. Yeah. Well, let's not bring up Edmonton's PK percentage. Yeah, let's not worry about that.
What's their PK percentage against Dallas, though?
Let's not worry about that.
It was very good. It was very, very good.
Other
than the one game, I think they shut them out.
No. Dallas did score one.
Oh, did they?
At least one in the final game. All right. I'll quickly check.
On the penalty?
I'll quickly check here, but yes, they did have a power play goal. Okay. So in the other, the game that the Oilers shut them out, obviously they didn't score a power play goal. In the final game, Dallas went 1 for 4. In the second game, Dallas went 1 for 2, and then in the other game they went 0 for 2. So Dallas had a total of 5 power play goals. Which
stay out of the box.
Yeah. That or kill penalties.
Well, yeah.
Maybe kill a penalty.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay.
But,
Cool.
all right. Sweet. It's been fun. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Game 1 Wednesday. I'll be putting out some notes on that, so keep your eye out. Make sure you watch the game, and we'll see you all next week. What is it? 2 games?
Yep. Wednesday and Friday are games 1 and
Wednesday,
2.
Friday.
And,
So we'll
and
be
then
2
Monday
games
will
into
be
it.
game 3.
So we'll be able to at least see how it's starting and kind of give some predictions and see what's going on from there.
Mm-hmm.
So until next week, enjoy. Have a good one.
Bye, everyone. And remember, right now, we are in the good old days. See ya.